Action, adventure, emotion, immersion. These are the games that go beyond simple mechanics and become unforgettable journeys. Today we're diving into 20 action-adventure masterpieces that every gamer must experience at least once. Let's jump right in. If you ever dreamed of swinging a whip without getting strange looks or unraveling ancient mysteries while dodging booby traps that clearly never passed any sort of safety inspection, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is here to fulfill your adventurous heart. This game brings Indy back in all his dusty, charming glory. Solving puzzles, getting into fistfights with suspiciously well-dressed villains, and yes, running from things that are way too large to be chasing people. There's a certain joy in watching him read ancient inscriptions like he's just deciphering a slightly confusing grocery list. And somehow every ancient ruin has the perfect handholds for climbing. It's cinematic, dramatic, and you'll learn that archaeology apparently involves more explosions than any science field should. Grab your hat, pack a snack, and get ready to feel like the coolest history buff who ever lived.
But arrest, would you? Where do you think you're going?
In Uncharted 4, Nathan Drake is trying to live a peaceful, semi-retired life, with a nice house, a loving wife, and a deep desire not to be shot at. But of course, his long-lost brother shows up and, well, suddenly it's back to climbing cliffs, solving puzzles, and being chased by heavily armed strangers in beautiful locations. The man can scale any surface like gravity is just a polite suggestion. The banter between Nate and his crew is half the fun. It's like going on a death-defying field trip with your most sarcastic friends. And the action? Let's just say he crashes more Jeeps than a rental company could forgive. Between breathtaking views, pirate treasure, and enough narrow escapes to give your heart a daily workout, Uncharted 4 is the perfect mix of adventure, brotherhood, and wondering how this man hasn't broken every bone in his body.
Probably. Oh, crap! Coming through!
Being a Jedi has never looked cooler or more exhausting than in Jedi Survivor. Cal Kestis is back, older, wiser, and still allergic to sitting still. He's on a galactic road trip filled with lightsaber battles, wall running, and dramatic pauses during philosophical conversations with droids. The lightsaber combat is sleek and satisfying, whether you're blocking blaster bolts or tossing it like a deadly boomerang. And your little robot buddy BD1? Still the MVP of moral support and door unlocking. Between the heavy force powers and deep emotional story, you'll feel like you're starring in your own Star Wars trilogy minus the popcorn and awkward family reunions. It's intense, it's immersive, and it somehow makes space frogs terrifying. Also ponchos, lots of ponchos. No one really knows why, but they're here and they're fabulous.
Victory is mandatory.
We're clear.
Split Fiction is a mind-bending co-op action-adventure that thrives on immersion and dynamic gameplay. Players control Mio Hudson and Zoe Foster, two writers trapped inside their own stories, navigating surreal environments that blend sci-fi and fantasy. The game's split-screen mechanic demands teamwork, with each player using unique abilities to solve puzzles, traverse platforming challenges, and engage in fast-paced combat. The action is fluid, with sequences ranging from aerial dragon rides to gravity-defying sword fights. Each level introduces fresh mechanics, ensuring variety. One moment you're manipulating time, the next you're dodging interdimensional rifts. The game's immersion is heightened by its cinematic storytelling, reactive environments, and deep character interactions. Whether unraveling mysteries or battling foes, Split Fiction keeps players engaged with its seamless blend of narrative and gameplay. Leon S. Kennedy returns with his signature haircut, unshakable cool, and absolutely no time for zombie nonsense. Resident Evil 4 Remake takes everything people loved about the original and gives it a fresh coat of terrifying polish. You're still rescuing the president's daughter, but this time it looks so good you might forget you're surrounded by angry villagers with pitchforks. Combat is tight, tense, and just chaotic enough to make every encounter feel like a mini horror movie. The inventory system returns, which means you'll spend a good amount of time playing Tetris with grenades. And somehow, Leon's dry sense of humor survived along with him, proving that you can fight off nightmarish creatures and still crack a joke or two. It's horror, action, and a little bit of inventory management therapy all rolled into one beautifully creepy package. Red Dead Redemption 2 isn't just a game, it's a cowboy simulator so detailed you can watch your horse poop in real time. You play as Arthur Morgan, a rugged outlaw with a heart of gold and a jawline chiseled by campfire smoke. The game lets you do everything from robbing trains to brushing your horse. A lot. Like maybe too much. There are emotional character arcs, stunning sunsets, and that classic Rockstar Games charm where things go from quiet to total chaos because you accidentally bumped someone with your elbow. You'll spend hours fishing, hunting, and wondering how Arthur survives on nothing but canned peaches and sass. But the real joy? Just riding your horse through the wilderness like a brooding poet with a revolver. It's epic, gorgeous, and a little bit of a life simulator where bad decisions often come with a price, and usually a bounty on your head. In God of War 2018, Kratos has swapped his rage-fueled chaos for a beard, an axe, and fatherhood, which frankly might be the most dangerous mission of all. Gone are the days of ripping apart Greek gods for fun. Now it's about bonding with your son Atreus, who starts off a bit whiny but eventually becomes the kind of kid you'd actually want to take on a mythical road trip. The Leviathan axe, it's so satisfying to throw and recall that you'll spend half the game just playing magical catch. The Norse mythology backdrop adds frost giants, dragons, and angry gods to the mix just to keep things spicy. Kratos tries very hard to be a chill dad, but chill for him still includes fighting monsters the size of buildings. It's a heartfelt story full of emotion, action, and the subtle reminder that parenting means saying boy at least 3,000 times. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice doesn't care about your feelings, it doesn't want to hold your hand, it wants to slap it away with a flaming katana and yell, "Try harder." You play as a shinobi warrior with a prosthetic arm and an endless supply of courage, or recklessness, slicing your way through a brutal, beautiful version of Sengoku-era Japan. The combat is all about timing, patience, and not panicking when a giant angry rooster kicks you off a roof. Boss fights will humble you, inspire you, and maybe ruin your weekend plans, but when you finally beat that one guy who made you consider uninstalling the game, you'll feel like a sword god. It's intense, stylish, and deeply rewarding. Just remember, every defeat is a lesson, and every victory feels like you just graduated from ninja school with honors and a few emotional scars. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is the kind of game that quietly enters your life, messes with your head in the most artistic way possible, and leaves you sitting in silence wondering what just happened. You follow Senua, a warrior with a big sword and an even bigger battle happening inside her mind. The game is a masterclass in audio design. You'll hear voices whispering in your ears like they're trying to help you, scare you, or sell you haunted insurance. The combat is brutal but elegant. and the puzzles will make you squint at runes like you just lost your glasses. It's a deeply emotional journey that handles mental health with a haunting beauty and raw honesty. But don't worry, it's not all existential dread. Sometimes it's just you, a flaming sword, and a boss that really needs to learn personal space. It's haunting, gorgeous, and unforgettable.
End it. No. Near the end. He's gone.
The Witcher 3 is basically a fantasy soap opera where you're a grumpy monster hunter with great hair and questionable life choices. Geralt of Rivia slices, dices, and occasionally flirts his way through a sprawling world full of contracts, curses, and people who just can't stop asking him for help. The side quests are so good they often feel more interesting than the main story. One minute you're tracking a werewolf, the next you're helping a haunted frying pan. And don't even get me started on Gwent, the in-game card game that's so addictive, it'll hijack your entire adventure. Toss a coin to your Witcher, but also toss him some sunscreen because he's always outside. With its rich storytelling, deep choices, and unforgettable characters, this game isn't just a fantasy, it's a lifestyle. Also, Roach your horse might teleport to your roof. Just go with it. Assassin's Creed Origins is Ubisoft's way of saying, hey, what if we made history fun, dangerous, and full of people yelling in ancient Egyptian while you hide in a bush? You play as Bayek, a Medjay with a heart of gold and a knack for stabbing people with dramatic flair. He's out for revenge, justice, and the occasional camel ride across the desert. Because nothing says epic journey like drifting sideways on a sand dune while chasing a crocodile cultist. The world is jaw-droppingly huge. Pyramids to climb, hippos to fight, no, really, and temples to loot like a historically accurate action hero. The combat got a revamp too. You now need actual timing and skill, which is fine until you realize that Roman guards hit like ancient trucks. And let's not forget your eagle, Senu, who doubles as an airborne GPS and the real MVP of ancient surveillance. It's like going to history class, except everyone has a sword and no one's wearing enough clothes. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 proves that two Spider-Men are better than one, especially when you can switch between them faster than you change your mind at a food court. Peter Parker and Miles Morales are back, and New York is still crawling with criminals who apparently skipped web-related safety drills. Swinging through the city is smoother than butter on rollerblades, and each punch feels like it was blessed by Aunt May herself. The story is intense, with Venom bringing his signature gooey chaos and Kraven doing his best angry jungle man impression. But let's be honest, you'll spend 70% of your time taking selfies on rooftops and collecting backpacks. The combat, flashy, fluid, and just the right amount of ow. The upgrades, so many. The vibe, all superhero all the time. You'll laugh, cry, and probably web sling into a few buildings while yelling, "Totally meant to do that." Stellar Blade is a futuristic thrill ride that feels like Nier. Automata got a high-fashion makeover and took a combat class with Bayonetta. You play as Eve, a stylish warrior who's apparently allergic to pants and extremely fond of slicing alien monsters into space sushi. Earth has gone full dystopia. Humanity lives in orbit like space hobos, and your job is to fix it all, preferably in slow motion. The gameplay is all about fast, flashy combat where dodging at the last second makes you feel like a sci-fi ballerina with a death wish. Boss fights are part puzzle, part chaos, and all style. But let's not ignore the absurdly detailed hair physics. They could probably win their own award. Between Eve's melodramatic journey and the emotional beats that sneak up on you like a backstab, Stellar Blade is a weirdly beautiful combo of grit, grace, and high kicks. In Stray, you play as a cat. Not a talking cat, not a magical cat, just a regular cat, and it's absolutely glorious. The game takes you on a journey through a neon-lit, post-apocalyptic city filled with robots who talk too much and doors that are always inconveniently closed. Your mission? Meow at everything, knock stuff off shelves, and occasionally solve complex puzzles like a feline Sherlock Holmes. You'll explore underground cities, hop across rooftops with perfect parkour grace, and form a surprisingly wholesome bond with a tiny flying robot sidekick named B12. The story is emotional, the setting is eerie and stunning, and the physics are just cat enough to make you wonder if the devs were secretly living with 12 of them. Honestly, it's the only game where scratching furniture counts as saving the world. 10 out of 10 would knock over a bucket again. Batman Arkham Knight is a game where you're not just the Dark Knight, you're the full-blown nocturnal drama queen of Gotham. You've got gadgets, gliding skills, and a Batmobile that might actually be a Transformer having an identity crisis. The city's bigger, badder, and somehow always raining. You'll punch thugs in the face, silently terrify goons from the shadows, and have heart-to-heart conversations with your good pal, Hallucination Joker. Driving the Batmobile is half awesome tank mayhem, half why does this car not turn like a normal car? The story dives deep into Bruce Wayne's psyche, which is mostly full of gravel-voiced guilt and unresolved issues. Every side quest feels like a comic book miniseries, and every rooftop comes with the Batman trademark, brooding. It's stylish, dark, and perfect for anyone who wants to beat up bad guys while emotionally spiraling in leather armor. If you ever wondered what it's like to be a spacefaring babysitter with a laser gun and an 80s mixtape, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is your answer. You play as Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, whose main weapons are dual blasters, awkward charisma, and the ability to say, "Guys, I got this," right before everything explodes. The game is a chaotic ride full of team bickering, emotional damage, cosmic weirdness, and more neon than a retro arcade. You can't directly control the other Guardians, but you can yell at them mid-fight like a space coach on Red Bull. The banter is constant and hilarious, the music slaps harder than Drax, and the story actually sneaks in feelings when you least expect it. If you love talking raccoons, giant trees, and making terrible decisions in outer space, this game belongs in your library. Also, don't feed Rocket after midnight, just a tip.
Hope the rest of you are as ready for this as I am!
Hold up, Rocket! Make it we get the shield back up! If only we could shield our butts!
In Rise of the Tomb Raider, Lara Croft is back to remind everyone that she's not just an adventurer, she's basically a one-woman disaster machine with a bow. She falls off cliffs, gets buried in snow, fights bears with arrows, and still has the time to raid ancient tombs like she's cleaning out the attic. This time she's in Siberia chasing after some immortal secrets, and the locals? Not too friendly. The game balances action, stealth, and environmental puzzle solving like it's prepping you for the world's most extreme outdoor escape room. Plus, the tombs actually feel tomby again, which is a big win. There's crafting, hunting, and a lot of sliding down ice ramps at unsafe speeds. It's cinematic, it's tense, and yes, Lara still manages to look cool while falling off yet another collapsing ledge. Basically, if you like archaeology with explosions, this is your jam.
I'm not your enemy.
That remains to be seen. You killed those men back there.
I killed them to survive. I suspect you did too. How long have they been here?
Horizon Zero Dawn dares to ask the age-old question, what if cavemen fought robot dinosaurs? And the answer is awesome. You play as Aloy, a red-haired outcast who's great at hunting and even better at asking really awkward questions that uncover horrifying sci-fi truths. The world is stunning. Lush jungles, frozen tundras, desert ruins, and everywhere you look there's a mechanical beast that wants to ruin your Tuesday. You get a bow, some fancy gadgets, and a serious grudge against giant robotic chickens. The game blends primal survival with futuristic tech in a way that somehow makes sense. The story dives into deep philosophical waters, but don't worry, you'll still spend half your time setting traps and panic rolling into bushes. With a cool protagonist, smart gameplay, and epic robot smashing action, Horizon Zero Dawn makes post-apocalypse feel like the prettiest disaster ever. Until Dawn is the only game where your poor decisions can lead to someone being decapitated by a haunted ski lift or getting chased by a vengeful deer spirit while trying to flirt. It's an interactive horror movie where you play as a group of questionably smart teenagers stuck in a creepy cabin in the woods. Every choice you make, from picking dialogue to deciding whether to open a suspiciously creaky door, can mean life or brutally ironic death. The butterfly effect system is fun until you realize that saving one character might doom another, or 5. It's got jump scares, drama, and more red herrings than a fish market. Also, Rami Malek is here. And yes, he looks confused the whole time, just like you. If you've ever wanted to scream, don't go in there at your screen and actually control what happens, this is your chance to be the horror movie cliche you always dreamed of.
Hold on! Hold on!
Ghost of Tsushima is basically a samurai movie where you're the star, the director, and the guy who makes the wind blow dramatically. You play as Jin Sakai, a warrior torn between tradition and practicality. Basically like choosing between honoring your ancestors or just throwing a kunai and calling it a day. Set during the Mongol invasion of Tsushima, the game gives you a jaw-droppingly gorgeous open world full of bamboo forests, burning villages, and foxes that clearly have side gigs as tour guides. Combat is a brutal dance of steel, and stealth is so satisfying you'll start crouch walking in real life. Duels feel like anime showdowns, and the story hits harder than a samurai guilt trip. There's poetry, hot springs, and intense standoffs where blinking at the wrong time means getting sliced. If you've ever wanted to wear a cape and stare moodily into the wind while slicing through enemies, this is your spiritual home. There you have it, 20 action-adventure masterpieces every gamer must play. Which one is your favorite, or did we miss your personal gem? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more gaming deep dives. Until next time, keep playing, keep exploring,